Welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. I'm Karen Scott Green. And I'm Kat Harvard. And we are here today with Melvennia Clark. She is the founder and CEO of Shaquille Clark Foundation of Atlanta. Thank you for joining us today. We
Thank
are
you for
so happy
having
to have
me.
you. So
Thank
tell us about Shaquille Clark Foundation and what caused you to create the foundation.
Okay. Well, the Shaquille Clark Foundation was birthed in 2015. It was birthed after I lost um six family members in less than 6 months to domestic gun violence, which consisted of starting with my oldest sister to domestic gun violence from her husband,
Mm.
and my mother passed away of a broken heart. So I had to have a double funeral for my mom and my
Mm.
sister.
Mhm.
Um, my grandmother, she passed away of a broken heart. Then my aunt passed away of a broken heart. And then I had to turn around and my son was murdered in March of 2015.
I'm so sorry for all
Then
your
after
loss.
that, yeah, and then after that, my best friend was murdered to domestic gun violence, and then countless friends of my son. So that was a year, man.
So all of that
So
happened in 2015.
yeah, so 2014, the ending of 2014 and the beginning of 2015. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And so you took
Yes,
that grief, and that's what caused you to launch Shaquille Clark Foundation.
that is correct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Shaquille Clark Foundation, it was birthed out of my pain, of course. But it was just a God had given me so much in the midst of all that pain. And I just began to take the overflow of what we were given and just begin to um, work in the ministry, because I call it a
Mm.
ministry. And I started bringing healing to other people that I had encountered who was experienced the same thing that me
Okay.
and my family had just experienced.
Mm. And now,
Yes.
how do you go about reaching the people that you serve?
So what happens is, I don't know, and I'm gonna say this, so people can better understand. When you get yourself to a position of being healed,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people don't know what that looked like. And when I say into a position of being healed, you have to fully let go of what has happened to you in order for you to be effective in your ministry and the work that God has called you to do
Okay.
out of your experience. And so once I got to that healing point, and I took a lot of losses, and those losses consisted of, I have five kids currently incarcerated
Mm.
because they weren't healed from the trauma. Um, was homeless several times and even had some health issues. So once I got to that space where the healing could begin, I was able to effectively go out and serve properly. And people don't understand when I say I was serving reckless. I was serving reckless because I lost a lot of things, my kids to the system, my health, everything. But when God
Mm.
put me in that place in the wilderness, I began to get the healing I needed, and it started internally. And that from that point, I was able to effectively know how to strategize and go out and reach the ones that had shared experience of what I experienced. So I started taking my business cards and I started going to the hotels where kids were sex trafficked. I put in
Mm.
that place to let them know that, hey, letting the owners of the hotel know, hey, we're here to help you. So if you have a child or young girl or young man
Mm-hmm.
that's out here and you know this is happening to, reach out to us, because it just bringing the education and awareness and telling them. So I went out to the hotels and I just started connecting with the management and owners, and just sharing the knowledge that needed to be shared, that if you're going to allow this to happen here, know that it could jeopardize your place of business. So
Yeah.
allow me community partner to come in and assist you and help these young people out. And I started leaving my cards and just educating them on how it would decrease the value in their business and how it would bring a lot of crime and violence there.
Hmm.
And they started taking my cards. And as they seen that come in, they called me. It says people's five basic needs are not met, then
Mm.
what do they resort to?
Doing
Crime,
whatever they
robbing,
can. Yep.
stealing to get it. Yes. And so once I learned that concept, those are the things that my foundation started going out and provided. So I started going to the hotels, started putting on events at the hotels,
Hmm.
just bringing about awareness, bringing like resume writing, toiletries, those things. But I wasn't just giving it to them. I was educating them on the importance of utilizing these resources.
Okay.
Because if I can bring you the toiletries, then that other money that you have, you can put it on something else that's needed. You
That's
know,
right.
resume writing. Let us help you critique your resume so that you can get that good paying job, so that you can get that apartment that you need and sustain it by having the correct income to get into that apartment complex. So those were some of the things that I started
Okay.
doing, and it began to grow, and it began to grow in the areas of where the people that nobody wanted to go and assist.
Mm. Mm.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted to ask you if you could share what areas and demographics do you see a lot of times people have these ideas of who needs help, like people just you hit mute, but just like people think it's for certain um, lifestyles or certain demographics, because poverty hits everybody. Poverty does not have a choice. This poverty isn't racist, poverty isn't classist, poverty has no boundaries, basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So it
That is
cuts
correct.
across it cuts across color. Um,
Yes.
and so some of the same issues that you might find in Atlanta, you can turn around
Hmm.
and find up in Jackson County, Georgia, or up in Rayburn County or somewhere like that. Poverty is
Yeah,
poverty, regardless of
that's
where
correct.
it is.
That is
So
correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
from
we
coming from, oh, I'm sorry.
no, I would just say that we met you at the push stop gun violence. And we
That
were moved by your story when you were talking about the fact that you had five young people that are incarcerated and that you are reaching out to young people to try to curb some of that violence. So can you kind of talk about some of the work that you're doing with young people?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, what I had realized is I took the experience of what I was dealing with my children
Hmm.
and how they ended up in incarceration. My nieces, who are my sister's daughters, that I got.
You're you're muted. You muted yourself.
And so for me, took her going in, um, trying to engage in that type, being pulled out to school and coerced into that type of activity, which led to my boys going into saving her, and which of course the injustice happened, and they all ended up in incarceration for
Mm.
something they didn't do. But at the same time, learning from that experience, of going through the chronic homeless, going through that time of being healed from my trauma, I had to learn what these kids needed that they weren't being
Mm.
provided. And that was just their basic needs. And then curving them from the influence of how social media and the music industry has
Got it.
made it. And I just simply go back. I connect with different rappers from the rap
Hmm.
industry, um, different CEOs, and I would come in and bring these kids in and have a sit down and tell them the real raw truth of how you
Okay.
got where you are. Tell
Okay.
them the background of what it takes to maintain and be where you are. And so as I started doing that, I was able to see the difference and the change in the teens and young adults that I was working with. And then from that aspect, I'd sit down and do an overall assessment. I call it assessment. And we talk about the things that they love to do and where they see themselves going and what they wanted, the impact that they wanted to make after hearing my story and me sharing what I did with them. And we would put the plan together. Some would want to do music. I would tell them, hey, in the music industry, being the rapper, you only get 1 cent, but producing the beats and making the music, you get
Mm.
paid a whole lot more.
That's what
You guys
money
love
is.
Yes, telling them where the money is. So now they can focus in and zoom in and see the difference in what it's going to take to fit into that type of industry or artistry, because I call it artistry or
Hmm.
ministry. And so once you create that, you bring your strongest influencers in the community of this urban area that you're trying to reach. And once you bring the influencers in, you train them up, give them everything they need, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go back and they're going to share that wisdom and knowledge, and it's going to move the people in a direction. All the youth are going to want to start getting on board and coming on board and doing the same thing. And it's just like when a new shoe come out, everybody see one person with it and they migrate
Mm.
to it. So if you take the influencers out of the community and educate them and give them the things that they need, they're going to go share it and just be that standing resource. I call it support beam. You don't
Okay.
have to be their foundation. They're going to be their own foundation, but be their support beam that they
Lift
need.
them up.
Yes, there you go. But that's basically
Lift them
all that I
up.
do. And I follow up and I hold them accountable, just like
Okay.
they hold me accountable. That's it.
That's right. And everything that I'm hearing you say is that you're providing access to a group of people who some people forget about.
Mm.
It's injustice and so forth. You surround them with the resources and support that they need so that they can then see themselves in those roles. How many times, even as adults, when we look at our mentors, or you try to get, even with us on podcasts, we try to interview some people before they get on our show. Some people may not want to tell you how they got where you say, oh, I went through some bad times, or I went through 100 no's before I got to, yeah, but what did that look like? Yeah. Right. To our young people, we really want to see,
Give them tangible information.
Right.
Correct.
Give them
Yes.
stuff that's general. So it sounds like you're able to get these athletes, these musicians, these leaders to give these young people facts, the truth about what it
Yes.
took to get them from point A to point B.
Because
Yes.
I don't need you just telling me generic information like you need to buckle down and work hard. Well, what does that
Mm-mm.
look like?
You need to have good work ethic.
Yeah. What does that look like? Okay, so if I want to be an artist, this is what I need to do. I need to be able
Okay.
to be able to, know how to publish. I need to be able to know how to get my stuff copyright. I need to be able to connect with this person who can, connect me with the lawyer. Like those are tangible things. So it sounds like you are providing them with like real resources that are useful,
Yes.
in
Yes.
whatever it is that they want to do.
Yes, ma'am. I say it like this, you got to look at it as a whole. If you really go back and just really think about it, it's kind of like reverse psychology.
Mm.
And I'll share this about the young man that murdered my son that went to jail. Just recently in November, he came up for parole. He was given because they couldn't determine the bullet that killed my son. So he was charged with, they only gave him manslaughter, but only gave him 3 years. Now,
Oh,
out of that 3 years, he's remained in there for 7 because his behavior issues, they did not
but he
address his
but he
seeds and
could have been out in 3.
he could have, but nobody attended to those issues internally
Yeah.
that he had. And
Mm.
so for me, I just stayed connected. And so when I was able to get on that parole thing, my family, I had family members.
You muted yourself again.
You,
I promise you,
Because
we want to hear this story.
yes, keeping him caged up in there was not fixing the problem. So him coming out, getting connected to the right resources, and being given an opportunity to better himself was the more idea. Because if you look at it like this, if you can put these people in jail all day long, but at some point they're going to get back out. You have to
So
bring the
your story
victims.
cut out. Your story cut out a little bit. Did you contact you were at his parole hearing?
Yes, ma'am. I did it via the phone.
Okay.
And I have it recorded because I tell the story, tell the truth.
Okay. Okay.
I want it better for this young man. That's a part of my healing, but that's also a part of
Mm.
healing the community. Because if we don't address the internal issues of the person who inflicted the pain on me and the person that the pain is, that has to deal with it,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
create a more violent environment. So
So
that's where
what did you tell the parole board?
I asked for him to be released under
Okay.
certain conditions, that he did not go back to the state of West Virginia, that he be
Okay.
placed in a whole nother state
Hmm.
with his family. And then I got people that I had worked with in North Carolina, because I work all around the states. I don't just
Hmm.
stay in
Hmm.
Georgia. I work
Hmm.
everywhere. And I took a guy who has a trucking company, because when you go to jail, you have these records. It's hard
Yes.
for you to get certain type
Get
of
a
job.
job.
So I found a job that would be easy for him to get, where he could also learn some trade and some skills and entrepreneurship to start his own trucking company.
You are such a
Wow.
blessing. God is really using you.
Wow.
Your story is powerful. That is
Yes,
that right there is what we all need.
Hmm. That's
yes,
some
ma'am.
turn. That's
It
some
is
turn the
moving.
other cheek.
Well, that's God.
Yeah.
That truly is God.
But I'm saying, like, but that's real Christianity.
It's
That's
right.
what that reference was with
Correct.
Christianity turning the other cheek.
Right.
Yes.
That a lot of us don't have the spiritual and emotional growth to be able to do that.
But I like
Yes.
what you said. You worked on yourself first. And so
Yes.
God ministered to you first so that you will have the strength to do what you did, right?
Yes.
Because identifying that, yes, you wanted this person, you wanted justice for your family, for your son. But when you realize this person basically was greater than his worst mistake, right? And you
Mhm.
gave him forgiveness, because without forgiving others, how dare we ask for forgiveness for ourselves?
That's
So
correct.
you were able to see, and that's a very point, because Karen is an attorney, and you constantly see people who have, what is the reason that this person committed that crime in the first place?
That's
And you
it.
said this person had behavioral issues.
Yes.
There's always a why. There's
Yes.
always a why. You know,
Yes.
I
Yes.
I say this all the time. Whenever somebody comes in front of a judge, there is always a why. This person didn't get there by themselves. There's a whole story. There's an entire
Find it.
story and life behind that person that stands in front of that judge. And
Yes.
are we going to hear the whole picture so that we can kind of understand? It doesn't mean that you don't hold that person accountable, because they're to be held accountable. But let's understand what went into this person getting to that moment, because that moment is not all of the sum of who they are.
Correct.
That's correct.
So
Yes.
how's the relationship? So is the gentleman out?
Yes, he's out and he's in North Carolina, and he's working toward, and I understand he don't want to have conversation with me, but I position myself and built relationships with these other nonprofit entities, and that way I could keep abreast. So whatever I can contribute to this young man's success, I have that open communication with the people that are staged around him to help him.
I am floored.
You are powerful.
Yes.
That is just.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't know
that's
what to
just
say.
what
I mean,
I'm saying.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how I would react if I were in that position. I would hope that,
God would put in you
God
what
would
you
put it
need.
in me what I would need, but I don't know that if I have, I'm a Christian, I believe in God and I believe in forgiveness. I don't know that I would have that much. If I have it, I would have it in me to have that much compassion working through my own hurt and just hurt. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Model that gives me hope
yes.
for humanity as a whole, because, and I know you see so many people who are in prison and we're just throwing them away, because what you said, Melvinnia, is they will come home. Everyone will come home. And if we treat
Yes.
people like animals, then how do you think they're going to behave when they come back to society?
That's correct. That is so correct.
Right.
Yes.
So we do have to create a space where they could come back home to that is mentally supportive, physically supportive, and meet their basic needs. Or people are just going to go right back and do the same thing.
This is so true.
So how can we connect with you? How can people support what you're doing and learn from what you're doing? Because unfortunately, gun violence, where we met you at, Stop the Gun Violence, how can people connect so that we can spread the word so people can stop committing all these crimes and we can get all these guns off the street?
So what do you need as far as volunteers, people making
Um,
donations? What does your organization need and what do you need and how can we be a part of your mission?
well, we always need all the love and support that we can get. We need volunteers. Most definitely we need donations like yesterday. Um, but just people that is we can take volunteers, but if people would give the donations, then we can employ more people and
Okay.
train up more people that can go out and facilitate and teach these teachings. So I mean, I have a whole firearm prevention curriculum. So, just
Mm,
donating to the cause, if not putting us in a position where we can pay these trained staff, because a lot of the people that we could hire are the people who have made it through the experience that's willing to help us fight for the change.
okay.
And those are your greatest assets to help drive that force of change. So we need, I do grants.
Okay.
But my thing is when I get the grants, I want the grants for the operational budget
Mhm,
so I
mhm,
can
mhm.
give people an opportunity to serve in their community and also meet their everyday basic needs while we're trying to heal the land of people.
What's the
So
website?
donations, volunteers, um, people to help us critique the curriculum so that we can go out here and drive that vision to help the people, because it's working. Like when I showed up at Black Kush, you seen I came in there with the young men. I
Mhm.
That's
don't
right.
have the capabilities of doing the paperwork, and my focus is on the human
Get the
being,
work
saving
done.
those
Yeah.
human beings. And I have able, willing, live testimonies. I don't have the paperwork, so bringing people in that can teach me and show
Mhm.
me how to do that, I'm open to learn because I don't
Okay.
have all the answers and I need other people to help me join forces. I
That's
teach them, they teach me. So, hey,
It's a
I'm open.
collaboration.
I welcome anybody in that wants to help make the impact and the change that's needed across the nation. And there's no color, there's no race, there's nothing to it when it comes to saving our people.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
What's your website where people can donate?
It's www dot at ShaquilleClarkFoundation.org.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
And
And
we'll put that information on the screen when this
okay.
does post. So it's Shaquille Clark Foundation to be able to sign up to volunteer and to be able to donate as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And
Yes.
is there
And
an
we just
email
got,
address if anyone had questions where they can reach out to you or someone in the organization?
yes, ma'am. MClark dot S is in Sam, F is in, C is in cat, and F is in Frank at gmail.com.
Okay.
So that's mclark.scf at gmail.com. I'm
Okay. All
sorry.
right.
We'll
We
make sure we put that out. We'll put it
yeah,
out.
we're gonna have that, and when we post this on social media, we'll have that information as well as have it on the screen because
Okay.
this will upload to YouTube and also where podcasts are played. So
Okay.
not everybody will be watching the video. Some people are going to hear this,
Yeah.
and so we'll
Okay.
make sure that that information is listed on those pages. Yeah.
Do you have anyone
Okay.
to give a testimony or information about how you help them?
Yes, I sure I would like to share that. Yes, ma'am. I'll let her tell it. Hello.
Hello,
Hi, how
beautiful.
are you,
How
Sunshine?
are you?
Looking good, honey. I'm loving the smoke.
You
I
got
know, right?
you got 50. I
I-
tell you, I feel good to be 50.
hey, you look good, honey. Beautiful.
God is good. God is good.
That's
Yes, he
right.
is every
God
day.
is good.
Yeah, so
Yes.
share with us your testimony as to how the organization has helped you and your family.
Well, I like to start off by saying I met Sister Malvina. She came in on my job. I do workforce management for staffing agencies.
Mhm.
And she just came in. I guess she thought she was looking for a job, but God had another plan. She came in to
Mm,
see me. She came in to meet me.
Mhm.
okay.
So we sat there just crying, and I had to kind of remove myself because you on that type of in that type of environment, you just can't do that. They want you working.
Right.
So she came in and we just minister, and it just really blessed me. And this was 3 years ago.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
since then, we have been her and my husband. I introduced her to my husband. He's a pastor. And we just started working. Um, I would um watch her deal with young girls sexual trafficking. She
Mm.
would drive all the way to Mississippi to get them off the street and get them to safety. I
Oh,
would
wow.
call her times, I had to learn Sister Malvina because as much as she does, people want her at their beck and call. And you
Hmm.
can't do that. What I had to learn about her because she's mentoring me. I tell people because I'm a pastor, that does not mean I don't need help.
That's right.
And when
Mm.
God brings you somebody to help you, you have to come under and let God use them in that help.
Mm.
That's right.
So I had to learn her. And in learning her, I had to give her space in her peace. So if she didn't call me back, it was okay. I waited for her to call me back. But when
Mhm.
she would call me back and just, hearing and knowing and where she was and the things that she was doing and praying for her and, things of that nature, going out on events with her and just watching how she would just tend and bringing our church food and bringing people food and finding shelter for them and, just those things that she does on a consistent basis. She don't sleep. She don't sit still. So it's a pleasure. And I'm not one to gravitate to a lot of work. It
Beautiful.
really identifies with the fact that we still got growth to do as a church body.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
I
beautiful
really
We still,
testimony.
appreciate you sharing your
yeah,
story.
we got to sit down.
That's
We
right.
really have to sit down because,
She definitely
go ahead.
touched you in your life, and I'm so glad that you shared
Oh,
your
yeah.
story with your husband. For 3 years, you
Yes.
walked in for one purpose, and here it is that she touched your life, and y'all are still doing this ministry. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
highlighting and letting people know
Yes.
the work that she's doing, driving to other states, helping people, and bringing them to safety. I really and
That's a
truly
ministry of love.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And what was your name? You don't have to share if you don't want to.
No, my name is Angela Smith.
Oh, it's a
Thank you, Miss
wonderful.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you for
Bless
sharing.
you.
And
Bless you.
Sister,
Bless
and
you.
Sister Melvinia, we thank you. We will be posting your information
Thank
um, about the work that you're doing, and we want
you.
to. We hope this story inspires others
Yes.
to join you, to donate, to
Yes,
help you in the work that you're doing. Because I know that this is a ministry of love.
That's right.
yes,
Yes.
That's right.
yes,
You are a
yes.
wonderful person. I am so glad that God allowed us
Yes.
all to meet at Black.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Continue to work and build relationships so that we all collectively, because that's what Conversations in Karen Cat is all about. Letting the community know that people like
Right.
you
Are doing the work.
right.
That's what we
Yes,
talk about. You saw a
yes,
need and you plugged in. And that's what we want. That's what we talk about on Conversations with Karen and Kat. Talk to people who are doing the work, who are on the ground. They didn't wait
yes,
for for the government
Right.
to try to come in and find solutions. You're finding your own
yes,
solutions,
Be
and
the
we
change.
love that.
Be the
Yes.
change you
Want
want
yes,
to
to see.
see.
That's
Yes.
right. And
yes.
congratulations on your presidential award, girl.
Thank you.
Just opened up the office space
Partner
um
with Black Push.
with Black Push
Oh,
in
So,
DeKalb County.
so you're at
Yeah,
542 Moreland Avenue at First Iconium?
we are.
Yes,
We
All
yes.
are.
right.
And I'm and I-
okay.
yes, and we just opened up an office space. So like we need whatever we can get. I'm not afraid to say I need things. I need things
Close
to
Okay.
your
help
mouth, don't get
facilitate these
fed.
classes. We need volunteers to help us with these youth and children because I'm telling you, they come willingly. And so I need help. I can't do it by myself. And I would love to support your ministry, your foundation. So if you do food, you do clothes, or you have a curriculum, come join us. I don't mind opening up and sharing because it takes us all collectively working together
That's
to
right.
assist these people. So if they want to
Okay.
give, donate. We need office furniture. Whatever we can get, we will take it with open arms. And not just me, but there's other organizations, and they need things also,
Okay.
so that we can form this collaboration to heal the land of people.
All
Yeah.
right.
So
Thank you so much for that, Melvinna.
thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
So thank you for joining us today for Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Well, we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.
Thank you.
Yeah.